ActionAid Kenya is an organization that works towards achieving social justice, gender equality and poverty eradication. And we are unapologetic about advancing women's rights and ensuring that women living in poverty and exclusion are at the center of our work in this country, that women and girls living in poverty and exclusion are supported to ensure they're able to achieve their rights, they're able to claim their space, they're able to up their voices, and they can speak out about some of the challenges they go through. We work in 22 counties in this country, and we support women and young people to claim their constitutional rights, ensure that we are able to work with them through empowerment, through solidarity, and through campaigning, which are our main approaches. When you look at statistics that are going on in this country at this time, women and girls are bearing the brunt of violence against women that is really prolonged in this country. We've seen a lot of cases of gender-based violence, even within households. We've seen a lot of cases of political violence where women are the ones who are bearing the brunt, especially when you're going through electoral processes. And then we've also seen different other forms of violence on matters around FGM, female genital mutilation and cutting, child marriage, and so on that are happening.
This year, 16 Days of Activism, we are working together with our communities living in poverty and exclusion and ActionAid to invest in prevention against violence for women and girls. As an organization, this is core to our programming because then we believe a society that is free from violence, both in public and private spaces, is a society with social justice and gender justice.
Female genital mutilation or cutting is a form of violence against women and girls. FGM is a violation of women and girls' rights. It's a harmful practice towards women and girls. My name is Teresia Warui. I coordinate the Girl Generation Support to African-led movement to end female genital mutilation program. In this program, our aim is to have positive shifts of attitudes towards female genital mutilation and other harmful practices. At ActionAid, we implement this program in 2 counties, Garissa and Isiolo counties, where there is high prevalence of female genital mutilation. We understand that the main driver of female genital mutilation or cutting as a form of violence is social norms, and so we aim towards making sure that we are addressing the root causes of female genital mutilation. Our program is girl-centered, and how we do it is to make sure that we're intentional in terms of finding her, designing the program with her, evaluating with her, and making sure that we learn with the girl in the program. By the strategies we've had several achievements. What are these achievements? First of all, lately we got recognized by the Anti-FGM Board for our work in Garissa County for making sure that we are involving women, young people, men and women, and everyone in this fight. Again, we have had a successful movement being formed towards ending female genital mutilation. We have established a network of Men for Change. We have established a network of young women who are called the Young Women Breaking Barriers. And through these systems, we've seen significant changes in terms of attitudes towards female genital mutilation. We have also had girls being rescued from female genital mutilation or cutting, and also child marriages, which actually are intersected as harmful practices. And this is done by women who have been able to go through the program, been trained, and are at the forefront of fighting and ending female genital mutilation.
My name is Judy Odur. I work with ActionAid Kenya as a project coordinator in charge of implementing the Increasing Access to Justice and Security project, which is being implemented in Mukuru in Nairobi and Nyalenda, which is in Kisumu County. The reason why we focused on Mukuru is that we did a baseline survey as ActionAid Kenya that then gave us statistics showing that there were high levels of domestic violence and rape going on in the informal settlements of Mukuru, and that majority of the community opted to, be quiet or be silent about it. Again, this was based on a baseline that we conducted in the area, which also brought out the high numbers of violations that women were undergoing in that particular informal settlement. The project focuses on increasing survivors' access to justice by linking them to services which include legal, medical, and psychosocial support. This project is very crucial, especially for survivors, where we felt that majority of the survivors were not reporting incidences of violations, and this is mostly attributed to fear of reporting that can also come with a stigma that is associated with reporting cases of violence. And so we use an innovative mobile technology for survivors to report cases. This is the use of the SMS platform, where the survivor sends the word help to 21094, which is the short code that we use. And we felt that the use of the SMS platform was very important for us because it's very confidential to begin with, and very few people will know when you're reporting. We have a team of dedicated system operators who are tasked with monitoring the back end of the system where these cases are reported, and they are then tasked to link the survivor to the various services that they may need. This project works very closely with other duty bearers or stakeholders. From the legal, we work with the police, we work with the law courts, we work with medical service providers, we work with counselors, because again, we realize the importance of counseling in the process of healing. We also work very closely with other key stakeholders that we feel are very important for the project. When we did start this project, we just focused on the access to services, but as time went by, as we got into the third and fourth phase of the project, we felt that it was important to include an economic empowerment aspect, because for majority of the survivors, you found that while we assisted them to access services, when we were not able to take care of their economic aspect, majority of them would end up back in the homes where they are being violated because they were financially dependent on the perpetrator. We therefore have deliberately included an aspect of economic empowerment and skills enhancement. Currently, we've been able to reach 350 survivors of violence, and we have approximately 250 survivors in Mukuru who are part of a survivors network, and around 50 survivors in Kisumu who are also part of the survivors. We've registered quite a bit of achievements. One of them being that we've seen an increase in confidence of the community to report violations. We've also seen an increase in survivors willing to talk about their stories, talk about their journey in accessing justice. The establishment of income generating activities for the survivors, where they've been able to set up cereal businesses, they've been able to set up groceries, they've been able to set up the detergent making businesses, they've been able to set up self-catering, outside catering businesses, which has helped them to get an income, which for some of them has been very welcomed in ending violence at their homes, but also helping them to be able to support their children for those that got out of those situations. The other achievement has been, of course, enhanced engagement with the stakeholders. The community, when we got in, had a fear of the police, but right now we see that there's an enhanced trust and confidence with the police to be able to report. We see that the community also is open to going to the law courts to follow up on where their cases are at, and this is attributed to our continuous engagement with the stakeholders.
My name is Grace Gitao, Project Officer, ActionAid International Kenya, and I support social movements, specifically Campus Me2 movement. Campus Me2 movement is a student-led Pan-African movement to end sexual harassment from staff towards students on campus. And the inception of this movement started as a simple campaign where a group of young students were hosted at the Global Platform Kenya, and we were discussing what then are these prevalent issues that students are facing within institutions of higher learning. And one of the prevalent issues that came out was the sex for grade issue, and also students suffering in silence due to instances of sexual harassment. And that's when then they came about and duped the movement Campus Me2. And from that then, as an organization, as a support ally of this movement, we then supported them to conduct a research to know the issue in numbers. And in 2019, we talked to 1,000 students within institutions of higher learning across Nairobi, where we found out that 49% of female students and 24% of male students have experienced sexual harassment from a university staff member within the institutions of higher learning, and 66% of those student survivors have experienced sexual harassment from either a lecturer or a professor. And we wondered now, what are the top reasons as to why this issue is happening, or what are the top reasons as to why the students also are not even coming out or reporting it. Some of the things that came out is the fear of stigmatization, the fear of victimization. They did not know where to go, they did not know who to tell or where to report these issues. And the student developed a petition with 5 student-led demands. And the demand 1 was to facilitate all newly enrolled students to watch an educational resource on sexual harassment. The second one was to facilitate an yearly training for all staff members within the institutions of higher learning on issues around sexual harassment, and sign a standardized code of conduct. The third one was to then appoint a safeguarding or gender officer who will now in turn respond to issues or cases of sexual harassment. The fourth one is to establish an investigative committee where students can approach when they are facing issues of missing marks due to instances of sexual harassment. And the fifth one was to incorporate the 4 demands into their sexual harassment policy, and also review after every 2 years to just check the progress or just monitor the issue in numbers. We began with only 3 institutions of higher learning as a pilot, just to check now what is this issue and why is this a prevalent issue. And right now we have scaled to over 18 universities in Kenya. And also in 2021 there was an establishment of a regional hub where the students from Kenya, Uganda and Tanzania were able also to share a community of practice where they shared experiences on how then now how can they do, or what more can they do to share the experiences of sexual harassment, and also to do more in responding to those issues in terms of the attitudes, behaviors that also promote sexual harassment within institutions of higher learning. The movement has gained remarkable milestones and achievements since the launch 2019. One, in 2019, the petition was able to collect over 11,000 signatures with students agreeing to be in support of these 5 student-led demands. And after this petition, the students submitted this petition to the Ministry of Education to ensure that also we have also other key stakeholders on board. And one of the key issues that the movement has been able to utilize, or one of the key approaches that the movement has utilized, is using a multi-stakeholder approach to ensure that they have also more allies on board.
Our call to action for the communities that we work with is that as community members, we hold the power to change the narrative in prevention against violence against women and girls. It is our duty as a community to work with all the people in the community to build the power within them, to have the power to say no, the power to work in solidarity with women and girls, to prevent, to respond, and to address violence against women and girls. A call to the government and the policymakers and leaders within our communities is to ensure that we are investing and allocating resources, public resources, to the prevention of violence against women and girls. As a community and as ActionAid, we will work with communities to ensure that they are part of policy and decision-making spaces that will ensure that we influence prioritization of programs towards prevention of violence against women and girls. To the international community and donors, let us invest in long-term funding towards prevention of violence against women and girls. Pamoja tuangamize dhulma dhidi ya kina mama na watoto wasichana.